So my dear Pisces, this is your reading now for the month of Aries. Sun in Aries and Moon in Pisces. Sun giving the light to the Moon. And this moment exists only once a year for 2.5 days. And so when I do the reading on the day the Moon is in your sign, I really get through the subconscious the desire to tell you this story, the longing to evolve and the longing to grow. And here we are recognizing a cycle has almost closed, because I was looking at the date when I began the readings in English. I have English and German readings. And the English ones I started on the 20th of April 2020. And so I recognize for myself that there is a message here for me, because I don't know why I today looking into the date when I began these readings, because I feel that I have become from the Fool, the Magician, and the High Priestess. And I just wanted to check, am I still a High Priestess, or am I already moving into the Empress? Right? So each year I feel like there is an evolution happening as well with the way I read these cards. And this is what I want to bring to you, is that you are wanting to evolve as well with this element of the Moon, because the Moon card is your card. Though you're ruled by Neptune, the dreamer, the one that created the movies, and the technology of the age of Aquarius is bringing that to us now, that we can actually watch videos at home. And back then we had to go to a theater, to a movie theater, right? And even before that we had to go to a theater, because there was no movie theater. There were only theater and there were only play. And of course, it always has existed that someone wants to tell us a story. And so this story here is telling me that you are longing to connect also with the Moon, the same way I really do the reading with the Moon's phases. And of course I see where is the Moon getting the light from, and today is still the Sun in Aries, and of course the Moon in your sign. Aries is ruled by Mars, and I gave Aries the meditation because the brain is his body part, and the only way to access that is through meditation, through looking deep within. He's the first house of self. And now you are the 12th house of self-loss. And it's very interesting because you're ruled by Neptune, the dreamer. And your body part are the feet. And you can see how Aries is literally like sitting on this throne, recognizing that he's holding on to something material, while you passing through these two towers up to the air. You want to evolve out of the water to land up into the air, which is now, of course, the age of Aquarius, or also Pluto, which is going to move fully into Aquarius in the year 2024. Right now it's jumping back and forth between Capricorn and, of course, Aquarius. So this is the story, right? The longing to evolve, and the longing to evolve even on the material plane, on that I am an emperor, I am someone that knows that I have to rule my life. And so this connection here is what's speaking to you today in this reading. Your court card is the Knight of Cups. He's facing the human path, the right spinning direction. And that is always from outside within. right? Whatever we learn here in this world, we learn that within. And so you are taking that path, the path of love, and you're holding that holy grail up like it's your almost your guide, right? It's like that gives you wings. If your birthday is between February 8th and March 11th, this is your court card. If not, please look in the description below. I have listed all the cards of the court cards, the dates, and of course the cards that I'm using today. So today it's a right spinning reading, a human reading. And usually once a year you get a left spinning reading, which is on your full moon opposite of your sign, which is Virgo. Back to the last reading. You had Pisces Sun and Moon. It was not a new moon. It was both Pisces Sun and Moon in your sign a second time. Right before that you had your moon, and you got one more chance to look deeper into what does it do to you when you have Sun and Moon in your sign, right? You have no opposite energy that's pulling on you. And the message was the world is realizing the shift of the ages that you protect, because the luminous warrior came and the world, and here the horses. And yeah, it's always very interesting how it's a cycle, right? So the last reading, I try to incorporate that in this one. I don't like when it's like, okay, it's cut off and the last one, who cares, right? It's like, for me, everything is cyclical. And so I just want you to understand how I function. Good. So then we begin the reading. Just that you know, the right spinning readings are humans and left spinning readings are soul readings. And I connect them with the earth spin once the earth to the right spins around its own axis every 24 hours. But then it does to the left a wobble that lasts 25,800 years that we divide through the 12 zodiac signs and we get an age. And currently we go from the age of Pisces left into the age of Aquarius. So we go backwards, and 2,150 years is a long time. And in that time there is a religion formed, right? We had before Pisces, we had the age of Aries. You see, I placed it now to the left because it's like we had the age of Aries, which was the Old Testament, the Judaism. And then Jesus came out. He was Jewish, right? He was the fisherman. And so the age of Pisces was declared here. And it's very interesting because Judaism doesn't acknowledge Jesus' teaching at all. It's like zip, cut. And I understand it because Aries is the head, and now all of a sudden Jesus was down in the subconscious, in the feet, and is speaking about walk the talk. And Aries doesn't like that. Aries likes to think about things, but is not really the one that acts. He tells others to do what he thinks about should be done. But then comes someone, and the revolution was like, okay, I'm gonna walk the path with love. And so that was the revolution. That was Jesus the fisherman, right? So just that you understand what this means, right? The ages. All right, let's begin. I'm gonna open the window a little bit. On the position of the Fool comes the sun, Apollo, the sun god Apollo, which is opposite of the moon god Diana. And you see how he is facing, the physical body is facing the soul path, but he's looking into the human path, and the sun is shining into the human path. It's almost like the sun is saying, I'm going to give these humans that are trying to figure out their lives the light so that they can see. And it sometimes looks to me like he's surfing on this cloud and he's having fun. And that's what the sun is. And the sun is, of course, in Aries. So it's important for you to recognize what Aries is trying to tell you. We're going to see what comes up on the position of Aries. But here comes a clear sign that the sun is giving you a very important statement. Stay clear, stay in your path, even though it uplifts you to think about that. And you can float, yes, you can fly. And this is, of course, the most endearing energy is the cherub, right? These childish energy that is standing here on this cloud and is having the left leg up in the air, and it's like, okay, I'm just gonna surf, or, you know, have fun, right? And so you see how the Fool is facing the left spinning path, the soul path, and it's the same position, the leg, like the Fool, and he just is looking up because that's where he is. He's not in a physical body yet. He is just, the soul is this energy, is this spark. And now the sun is giving you the clear sign of like, yeah, the human path. You know that you have to unite them. You have to combine them. You have to create a unity there. And so in the position of the magician, the state of consciousness of inspiration, comes the medicine wheel. And the medicine wheel is very powerful. It's the number 35. So the 35 connects us to the 3, to the Empress, and the 5, the High Priest. So then calculated together, that's an 8, and the 8 is the strength to understand all 4 directions. And it's almost like he's looking into the medicine wheel and he's like, yes, but I am geared to the north where the hummingbird is. And the hummingbird brings us the ideas, the inspiration. And you can see how the eagle is looking at the east. And of course, the snake is at the south. And the jaguar energy is at the west. So here, you getting a strong, powerful message. You are holding all 4 elements on the table, and now they are coming in animal spirits to you with the 4 directions as well. And you are heading in this direction. So if I see it from this perspective, it's almost like you are going towards the west. But your head is looking like the eagle, which is the head. The eagle is the higher consciousness, into the east. Right, here's where the sun is setting, here's where the sun is rising, and so the sun is looking over where it's rising. Wow. It's like, okay. So be inspired by this and learn more about these 4 animals, right? This is Alberto Villoldo's teaching, the shamanic teachings of the medicine wheel. On the position of the High Priestess comes the 9 of Wands. And this is the state of consciousness of intuition. Intuitive, I know I have to bring myself into the center to know what to do next. And so the 9 is the moon in Sagittarius. And moon in Sagittarius is like where you get strength, the Lord of great strength. And it's like, okay, if you want to go in this direction, the human path, you need a lot of strength, you need a lot of power, and you know that. It's like, okay, physically you're still connected with the soul, because I mean, this is a card number 19, right? So 1 is then the magician with the medicine wheel that's above you, and that's why you're holding the sun, because the sun is connected in the center of these 4 directions. And then the 9 is the completion. It's the hermit. It's that inner knowing. It's that knowing that you have to fulfill both paths to recognize then that you can become a 10. And on the position, of course, of the Fool, right? You got from 0 immediately to 10. Right away, you empowered yourself. And so then comes the 8, 10, 8, 9, right? And you recognize that you need a lot of strength to be a master, because the eagle is the master. The eagle is the one that sees the east, and to the east we see how the sun is rising. The Eastern philosophies takes a lot of strength to learn that. And Moon in Sagittarius is bringing that fire, that inspiration for you to know intuitive that you are learning everything there is through going deep within. And so here's a 9 in it, and there is a 9, right? So in a way it's like a 9-9 portal. And 2 times 9 is the intuition of knowing that completion, fulfillment starts from deep within, but then also translates itself to the without. Then comes on the position of the Empress. The Sun again. And so, of course, this time you see how the Sun has a completely different picture. Here he's all alone, he's looking over, he knows, okay, I have the medicine wheel, I have the 9 of Wands, I take action, and now you have a 9-9-9 portal, 3 times 9, I empower myself by embracing the opposite. Here now it's a couple, we see the red and the blue, and we have 12 yellow and 12 red rays, so it's the 12 hours that mark the day and the 12 hours that mark the night. And then, of course, you have a 10-10 portal when we calculate that together. So a 10-10 portal is framing the 9. You get help through the Sun to do whatever it is that you have to do, to recognize now you need a lot of strength to actually take care of the 9 of Wands, right? It's necessary. And so here you getting a strong, powerful message of 2 times you get the Sun. The Sun is with you, and the Sun, of course, again, is in Aries. And Aries is that beginning, is that like every plant is now breaking through the earth and is like, I want to go towards the light. I want to grow. I want to go into that summer and the light and the fun that the summer brings. And so then on the position of Aries comes the 8 of Pentacles, and that is, of course, now connected with this 8. And the 8 of Pentacles is Sun in Virgo. So 8-8, 2 times 8, the infinite potential of learning and growing and being a magician, like the infinite 8, the symbol for infinity. You are learning whatever there is you can learn, and you are working diligently on yourself, learning and understanding the medicine wheel, understanding the 4 direction, understanding the path of the moon, Because, I mean, you are the moon and you are wanting to know how each time the sun is giving you the light. And you are learning that, you are working on that, and it's really giving you the empowerment. And so the sun in Aries is bringing you the 8, the clarity to know that this is infinite, this cycle is infinite until the sun one day is, of course, dead. But that's just trillions of years away, right? That is happening, but it will happen. Until then, we just continue to evolve and to have that longing to grow. And of course, you are evolving up the mountain where the hermit is standing up on the mountain. The number 9, because you're the 18, which is also 9, right? So you have already 1, 2, 3 times the 9. And 3 times, of course, then is the Empress, is the first form that we give birth to. Because 1 is a dot, 2 is a line, and 3 is a triangle. It's the first form. And so you giving birth to the light, to the sun, to Apollo, the sun god. You are working on it. That's on your mind. On the position of the Knight of Cups comes the Queen of Pentacles, a Capricorn. And it's very interesting. It's almost like she's holding up 1 coin and is looking at your work and is saying, okay, you've been working diligently, right? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. You have 1 lying here, 6, and then of course 7, 8 here in the back. You have the other 2. You've been working, and it's almost like she's giving you the 9th Pentacles, which is then Venus in Virgo, and it's saying, okay, and then you recognize that you have worked so much and enough. So now I give you the 9th Pentacle, and you can now relax in your own garden. So there's a Capricorn coming at you and saying, I'm going to help you. I see the work that you've been doing. I see how you've been spreading the love, sharing your knowledge with love. And now I give you 1 more coin. So you're not in that infinite loop anymore. Now you can come into the completion. Then you have another 9. So you have 1, 2, 3, then with the 9 of Pentacles, 4 times the 9, then your heart can blossom, your heart can open up, and it's almost like Capricorn is helping you to find your social status, because Capricorn is the social status, but is also attachment to the money. But she's literally like helping you to go further, because Virgo is the opposite of you, right? And so this is where you're evolving up to. Your desire to evolve is evolve into Virgo, into that deep knowledge, into the deep knowing of yourself. Wow. So powerful and so beautiful. And then on the position of the moon comes the 4 of Cups, which is the moon in Cancer. And this is very interesting because Cancer is opposite of Capricorn. And the moon in Cancer, or the full moon in Cancer, gets the light from Capricorn. So that's the moment where you recognize that 4 cups are stability. The stability, though, is fleeting. The stability can also make you get off, right? So that's why you see this metal all over his body. He's protecting himself. He is like holding on to what he has established, and it's now time for you to recognize, okay, it's wonderful what Aries has brought to me, but now I continue. And this is the last reading where Sun is in Aries. The next reading is then Aries Sun and Aries new moon one more time with a solar eclipse. And then, of course, the Sun is in Taurus. So here you are recognizing that, yes, there is something coming to you that brings you even more love, because, I mean, this is your cup. You have 4 cups, but you actually have the most important one you have with you. And so then you have 5 cups, right? And 5s are the 5 senses. But what I see is that you have here the 4 directions, the 4 cups, and in each direction there is another emotional energy that is teaching you to be or to stay in your cup, in your center, in the 5th element, and the 5th element is love or space. And it's almost like you are talking now with the Queen of Pentacles, with the Capricorn, and you are letting her know, thank you so much for this 1 coin. And now I can continue my path because I have learned to trust the infinite work that we do here. And I now, through you, I'm able to go to the number 9. I recognize now why the 9 is opposite of me, because it's also the coin. It's the Knight of Pentacles, Virgo. And you are learning and growing tremendously through this lesson, right? Because this is actually on your position. So you are speaking with a Capricorn, and you are almost exchanging. Maybe you give her the love and she gives you the money. And then, of course, you can continue your path forward. And then here, of course, comes the 4 of Cups, and you are then in summer when the moon is in Cancer. You are recognizing this exchange, how important this exchange was. Because then on the position of the moon as an oracle card comes the number 38, the masks. And I think you're learning to let go of your masks, because we're all born with masks. And of course the 38 then calculated together is an 11. But first the 3 we have, of course, on the position of the Empress, we have the Sun. Clearly you're manifesting here again this 1, which then of course is important with then the 1 here as well, because it's an 11 that I'm calculating. So you already have 4 times the 1. And 4 times the 1 is then, of course, the heart in letting go your mask, letting go to pretend to show who you think you have to show, but in the end you want to show your authentic self. And this is like the dream that is coming to you, to recognize, show who you truly are now to the world. In your dream, you're recognizing you want to evolve up here, and then you're becoming this number 11, right? You have 4 times the 1, and it's like you understand the message 4 times 9 and 4 times 1. And you are opening yourself. because on the position of the moon came the Four of Cups. And so there is this 4 times 1, and the 4 cups, 4 emotions, 4 feelings that are connected with the 4 directions. But the 5th is with you. The 5th element is with you. And then on the position of the sun, which is in Aries, comes the marine life, the richness of the 32. And so the richness again is on the position of the Empress, the sun. The sun is giving us so much. The sun is giving us real deep emotional richness. And here the sun comes where the little boy or the little cherub is sitting on a horse. And you are recognizing the empowerment here as well that he brings. He's just naked. He's just free. And so here he is naked and free as well. Right? He's like, yeah. And this is what Aries brings. As that sun, the strength of the sun is getting now again to break out, to open the mask, to break yourself free, which takes a lot of strength to do that, to break yourself free. And of course the 2 is then the breaking free, the 9 of Wands, right, on the position of the Empress. And so you are learning to really recognize what emotional richness means. It means take those masks off, be free, and recognize then also the work that you've been doing is now bringing a richness to you, a deep richness, an emotional richness. It's not that the money makes you rich, it's actually the love that makes you rich. And you somehow know that. And you somehow also is telling that to the Capricorn. It's like, I give you love and you give me here the richness in the material or in the social status. But you have given me for sure here the richness, right? The richness to understand that I'm coming out of the 8 and going into the 9, coming into the completion, coming into my opposite sign, which is, of course, Virgo. And Virgo, Sun in Virgo is here, right? And is giving you, yes, I show you that Sun in Virgo is important for you. And so you have this richness, you have let go of your masks. And then really, really powerful, on the position of the World comes the 9 of Wands again. And so you recognize that a new dawn is coming. Through this emotional richness, you are opening a portal. Because then it's 5 times 9, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 with the 9 of Pentacles. 5 times the 9, and you recognize now there's a whole new way of showing the strength that you have brought to yourself and the emotional impact that you can now create a floating and a portal. 5 times 9, right, is a powerful portal. Because then it's connecting back here to the sun, to the fool that had this foolish idea that came to you to really enjoy yourself and to put up the sun in your head and to be the sun god Apollo, because you were in the sun for 2,150 years, right? You were in the sun. you had that empowerment. You were in the age of Pisces, and so here you feel that the age of Pisces is speaking to you, and you're like, okay, yeah, now I understand what it means to be fully in the light, constantly in the light. And so the moon in Sagittarius is also this like a very powerful statement that's saying, yes, you have the power. You are having the great strength, and the 8 is the strength. The 8 is the strength to do what you do. Nevertheless, you have gotten another one, so you can now move up to the 9. And a deep emotional satisfaction is coming to you because you have also realized that the 8 portal, knowing these cycles and working on it and learning everything there is to learn, is bringing then that deep richness. Because I mean, this is then the 32 is a 5, and of course here's a 5 as well, right? And so the richness comes from learning and growing and loving what is and how everything is cyclical, and how now there is this portal for you available, because you have 4 times the 1, which is again the heart and being that seed that breaks through, the seed that is knowing that everything has its power. And so here you are recognizing 5 times the 9 is really giving you then the 10, the completion, the new cycle. And the 2 times 10 with the sun, right? It's like, okay, connect with this energy and you will be unstoppable. You will be like, wow, you will be out there. People will speak about you, right? About how you did that and completed some very powerful cycle, right? Because you are understanding that the 9 is the hermit, and 5 times is that communication, is that deep love that you have gotten from learning all of that. Wow, what a beautiful reading. I hope I see you in the next one, because that's when the earth is spinning in such a way that we see behind the sun the constellation Taurus, and Taurus is here through this 5 when I calculate it together. And of course, there's a 5 in here as well, right? So the medicine will work with you to help you to navigate through all these emotions. Maybe learn to associate an emotion to each of the 4 directions. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.